Welcome to the That's Life podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Makita.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of That's Life podcast with Liquidshano. I haven't been on a little while, but I'm back now, and I'm here, and I wanted to share a couple things with you guys and kind of chat with you about some stuff that's been on my mind and everything else. So I hope you're looking forward to listening to me, and I'm looking forward to speaking. So I hope you guys are doing well. Since the last podcast, a lot's been going on, all kinds of stuff. I've been on a new health journey. I'll give you guys kind of a snapshot of what was going on. I went to the doctors, and at the doctors, they pretty much said, one, you're overweight. I've been told that on almost every single physical of my entire life, but that's okay. It's needed to be said. One, you're overweight, and two, you've got high blood pressure, or it's higher, it's elevated blood pressure. So that was kind of a shock, right? I haven't been in that space in a while, so it was kind of a wake-up call for me to be able to say, okay, what do I have to do now? What do I have to do to be able to focus and concentrate on my health and doing the things that I have to do to be able to move forward and be healthy and be around for a long time for my wife and my kid and everything else. So we've done a few things. I started off on a new diet regimen that I'm doing. It's called the DASH diet. And basically what it is it's all like the Mediterranean diet almost, right? Lots of greens, lots of nuts and legumes and things like that or whatever. And you know, a healthier diet to be able to decrease the blood pressure a little bit, right? Minus a lot of the salt. I'm only allowed to have a certain amount of salt per day, per day. So I got to watch those things, and I didn't really have to before. But as you get older, as we all know, you have to adjust, you have to pivot, you have to right turn Clyde sometimes. You have to do all the things that are necessary for us to just keep moving forward. And after you hit that 50 years old or 60 years old, it's a lot harder to be able to do the things that are necessary for us to do because we're aging, right? Our metabolisms drop, our muscle mass decreases, everything else that's there until you like try to stay active and do those kind of things. So with all those said, without everything being said, a little bit of an accountability post here that I'm making to you guys is that I'm down almost 17 pounds since my doctor's visit. My blood pressure is going down a little bit. It's still pretty high. It's elevated. I've got my little machine that I use at home, and you know it's mostly higher in the morning, and in the evenings it's a little bit less, which is expected. I've read a lot of stuff about it. So I share that with you because everybody's got to be able to keep these things in tow, right? You guys know my feelings about going to get help. You guys know my feelings about going to get the checkups. Go to your doctors, get your physicals, get all the stuff that's necessary for you to be able to do so that you can frame the actions and the behaviors that you're putting forward based on what you're learning with your doctor, right? You guys all know when something's wrong. You guys all know when something's up. It's not feeling right. It doesn't feel up to par and things like that you want to be able to just move forward and be flexible and feel like you're in your 30s or 20s again, right? But it doesn't happen. But you know what's going on. The key to it is when you go to your doctors, have the conversation. Sit down with them and tell them, listen, here's what's going on. Here's how I'm feeling. This is where we're at with it. And that way you can come up with a plan together. He has resources or she has resources. They can send you to the right people. We can have a team that's working on it with you. All these things that we can be able to try to accommodate and be able to move this forward. So you guys know how I feel about it. So that's my advocate. I'm being an advocate at this moment, at my PSA moment, for me to be able to sit back with you guys and say, go get your annual physicals. Go get your checkups. If something is wrong, go report it. Report that something's wrong. You got to come up with a plan to be able to fix it for you to be able to continue to live a prosperous and long life, right? So I share that with you because it's been a whirlwind of emotion for me that I sit back and I say, man, you know, I'm trying to be able to do these kind of things and do the things that I want to do, and I can't. Like swim long distances or take long walks without being winded and sweating like crazy and all those things. So, and blood pressure is not something to mess around with. So I'm on top of it. I'm working on it, and I'll keep you guys posted as I go along. So I wanted to share something with you guys. This is what the podcast is going to be about this week. This last week, I posted something on No Finish Line Nation on my Facebook page, and I sat back and I was talking about kindness. I was talking about being good to people. And I was talking about the impact that we have on people if we're kind to them, we give them compliments, we give them a high five, we call them when we haven't called in a long time, we reach out to them, doing kind actions. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in this podcast. But I wanted to start off with the fact that this last week has been really, really difficult because I had two individuals that I knew or that were close to our friend family, and one of them is a coworker's brother-in-law. Both of these individuals are happy family men. They were successful. They did all the things that they had to do, and it seemed to be all put together. Smiles on their faces, professional, looked great, looked healthy, all those things. But behind the scenes, something was going on with the both of them. So in consecutive days, I'd say probably within 2 days of each other, one of them took their own life, and my son went to school with his daughter. So that's our connection to that. And we knew through sports and different stuff when we were in school of who these people were and everything else. And it's just so sad because these multiple daughters and family members are now reeling because he took his own life, which is devastating for everybody around. Even though the person that's going through it, we don't know what their situation is. We don't know their story. We don't know how detrimental or devastated they were. We also don't know if they went to get help, which is something else I want to talk about on this podcast. Okay, so we're going to go back to that one happened. And then 2 days later, my wife went into work and had a conversation with one of her coworkers. And the coworker said, she seemed frazzled. And my wife walked up and said, everything okay? Are you good? Or look, what's going on? And come to find out that her brother-in-law took his own life. Now, it could be the dynamic of everything that we're going through as a culture, as a world, as everything else. But if we stick to the statistics and the facts, men usually shut those feelings down, right? Men usually are, everything's fine, put some dirt on it, rub some dirt on it, walk away, you're fine, everything's good, we're all set, right? Most men are like that. Also, just like I opened with the fact that I went to my physical, I'm finding out these things, I get making an oil change, I'm trying to be able to tweak a couple things, make a couple pivots before it becomes too big of an issue, et cetera, et cetera. Men also don't get the help that they need. Now, I say this about men because there are women also as well, don't get me wrong, but men are patterned this way. And it shows in the statistics that men outnumber women in suicides and taking their own life by far of anybody else. And it's sad to me. It's devastating. Now, have I had thoughts of the road being better or the road being different if I wasn't around? I think everybody has a little bit of that thought. Maybe not as evident in some of these other cases, but I've had those thoughts. And I know that if I get to the point where I have those thoughts, it's time for me to go to get help, right? That's my trigger. That's my sign. My sign is if I'm feeling this way or I'm feeling like the world's caving in and I can't accomplish anything and I feel like the bills are piling up, I'm failing as a parent, I'm failing as a husband, all these things, which I'm really not. But at the end of the day, when you have your own set of expectations for yourself, yeah, you feel like you're a failure. And it's devastating when you're in a place where you can't get the help that you need. There's a lot of different services that are out there, betterhelp.com, all kinds of different things, right? With some online services to have seek therapists, or you can actually go to your PCP and talk to them about the thoughts that you're having or the feelings that you're having, and they can set you up and they can put you in the system covered by insurance, et cetera, et cetera. You go, you sit down with somebody, a third party that is not even involved in your situation. They don't even know you. They're outsiders. So you're basically talking to a stranger, but you're letting it all off your chest and you're talking about the stuff. And then even after the first few sessions of just letting it all off your chest and talking about it, then you start to build a plan. Well, how can I be better with that? What can I do in a situation like this? What are my triggers? How do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? How do I have these conversations with other individuals, et cetera, because it's a scary place. And why do you think it's scary? Is it ego? Because I think men have egos, right? And women do too, but men have egos. They're strong egos. I'm a man. I provide for my family. I'm the rock of the family. I do what I have to do. I'm a man. This is how I'm raised. I'm tough. I'm brittle. I'm good to go. I'm going to hold everybody up. I'm going to do everything in my power to be the man that I'm meant to be for my family and everybody around me. And it's difficult because when the ego kicks in, then you think of yourself as less than when you have issues or you have problems or you got stuff going on that you want to be able to do the things that you have to do, but these negative thoughts are nothing but infiltrating your brain over and over and over and over again. And you're thinking to yourself, I can't accomplish that, or I can't do that, or I'm a failure at that. I've done this before. I can't do it, et cetera, et cetera. The recommendation really at the end of the day is what could we have done for those two individuals that took their own life this last week? What could we have done? Could we have offered services to them? Could we have done anything? Here's my point. My point about kindness is I think I could have done a better job of at least reaching out to some of those individuals, having a conversation just to say, hey, man, I'm thinking about you. Hey, buddy, listen, I know life can be tough sometimes, but hey, I'm if you need an ear to lend, if you need a shoulder to lean on, if you need a high five, or you just want to go out and have a beer with somebody to be able to just kind of get some stuff off your chest, that I'm here for you. So the original point that I was making in this podcast was kindness matters. And here's how kindness matters. If I can't get somebody to the doctor themselves because they don't want to go to the doctors to go visit or go to their PCP or go to get therapy or anything like that, I can do it my own way. And I can do everything in my power to make sure that I'm being kind to them. Have you ever noticed throughout all of maybe media, in entertainment and whatever else, the individuals that seem to be the happiest, seem to be the most excited, seem to be the ones that are inflappable. And they're literally just they're just beams of light in the things that they do, especially comedians or dancers. You guys know Robin Williams, right? I mean, that dude was so funny. He was so funny, but he was battling demons behind the scene. How about Twitch, the dancer? Wife, kids, everything else. He took his own life because it got too overwhelming for him. The demons were swimming in his head. They were getting they're all in the head, and it took over, and he decided that taking his life was the only option that he could have. Now, there's a lot of people that are out there right now that literally would say, it's religious people would say it's a sin. Other people would say it's a cop-out. Other people would say, how could you, how dare you, with family and everybody else that you're affecting? Yeah, if I'm involved in that situation or I'm around them or they're people that I know, yeah, I might have some anger, right? I might have some frustration. I might be pissed off at times to be able to sit back and say, why didn't you come to me? Why couldn't you have said something to me about this? You know my door is always open. I would be there for you. But we don't know their situation. Their situation is totally different than your situation, and your situation is totally different than my situation. So at the end of the day, when you really think about it, everybody has their own story and their own dynamic. The only thing that we can really truly do to make a true impact on somebody like that is just continue to be kind and do the things that you know are necessary. Now, when I talked about earlier, just a minute ago, about the fact that some of the people that you wouldn't think need the help the most, the ones with the biggest smiles, the ones that don't have all the drama, aren't complaining about everything, but they got bills piling up. They got parents that are aging and dying. They got their kids who are in trouble, and so they think that they're just less than because they've raised their kid to be proper or do the right thing, yet they're going down this bad path or whatever it is, whatever their story is. At the end of the day, they might just need that little phone call that you have decided to make, or a text message that you might send to somebody to say, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. I just wanted to say, I love you, man. I just wanted to say, I look up to you and I think you're awesome. I think you're doing a great job as a dad, or you're doing a great job. I'm glad you're my friend. Let's go have a beer. Let's go do something, right? Especially for the people that you haven't talked to in a while, because if they're quiet, you have no idea what's going on with them. My buddy John and I used to always talk about, we know when there's something going on. We know when the issues are happening. We know when we're falling into depression or we're eating poorly, we're doing all the things because we quiet down, we shut down. Hey guys, one of the things that I get from a lot of individuals that listen to the show, that watch the show, that follow me on social media is, how can I help the podcast? Well, here's one of the ways that you can. I have a Patreon page. Now, you may not be familiar with what a Patreon page is, but what you can do is you can sign up to become a patron of the show. You could donate monthly to the show. Now, after a few months of donating monthly to the show, there's different tiers to be able to donate to. But you'll get some tchotchkes back. You'll get some merchandise back. You'll get something for actually donating to the show. But in the meantime, it helps to alleviate some of the cost that comes into running a podcast or doing different stuff. So if you're looking to support, I'm going to place the link of the Patreon page right into the bio. And I'll also tell you what it is. It's www.patreon.com/that's_life. And this way, you can support the podcast, you can give back, we can do all kinds of different stuff, and we can grow together. So I appreciate all the support you've given me in the past and in the future and right now. So thank you so much, and back to the show. Now, I'm a pretty open book about a lot of things that I do in life, but he's absolutely, when we talk about it, we just know. I know when he goes quiet, something's up. So guess what I do? I pick up the phone and I call him, or I'll text him. Hey, man, I'm just thinking about you. You know, I saw something on the side of the road today. I was thinking of a waffle for breakfast, and I thought of my boy that makes the big-ass waffles. I just wanted to tell you, I love you, man. And usually when I do that, he'll come back with, oh, man, that's perfect timing, bro. You have no idea how much I needed that. Because we don't know everyone else's story. So the only thing that we can do is consistently stay kind, consistently stay supportive, and lifting other people up instead of breaking other people down. And the culture and the climate that we're at right now, with the temperature of everything, whether it's political, whether it's cultural, whether it's religious, whatever it is, across the board, people are angry, they're upset, they're fighting. They're coming after each other. They're doing all the things that we were taught not to do. We used to live by the rule of the golden rule, do unto others as you want done to yourself, right? But that's gone because individuals are just angry. They're coming at you. They'd rather break you down and belittle you and treat you like shit to the bottom of the earth before they bring kindness to you, before they compliment you, before they try to lift you up. And don't get me started on anybody that might be your enemy. I'm talking about friends, right? These are people that you consider to be in your circle. These are the ones that should be lifting you up and encouraging you and doing all the things. But even they can be tough. Family can be so tough. Oh, you've done that a million times. You always fail. What's going to change it this time? Oh, you're overweight. You should lose all that. You should lose weight. You got kids now. You got something to think about. Oh, you should do something about your finances. You're in trouble right now, but you shouldn't be there. I never taught you to be that way, or whatever. And these jabs and these words that they use can be so hurtful. And a lot of us just bury those. We bury them deep. And the only time that you're able to actually open it up to have a conversation about it are in things like therapy. Here's a great example, okay? Here's a great example. The other night, my wife and I are driving. I do delivery on the side for Uber Eats, and I deliver food to people to make some money on the side because, my current job isn't really necessarily paying all the bills. So I'm out there doing this. So my wife goes with me whenever I deliver food because, we call it Uber dates. So we go out and we deliver food, we deliver packages, we do all kinds of stuff, and we just go out and have fun together, and we talk and we play music and we jam out. We do all those things. Well, we were driving just last night, and I looked at her. If any of you know, we went through a pretty rough couple years here, right? In this household, for my family and everything else. My son really had a lot of problems and issues and really faced a lot of things like bullying and a lot of mental health issues and PTSD and ADHD and all kinds of things, right? All kinds of things. So it's been a really rough ride. But we're kind of in this place where we're coming out of it a little bit, right? We've got resources. My son's in therapy. He takes medicine for some of the ADHD things. It's really helping him. He's got a full-time job. He's working hard. He's doing all these things, right? So we're on the mend, right? We're on the mend. But I asked my wife last night as we were driving, I said to her, hey, what would you have done differently if you could turn back the clocks 3 years ago? What could you have done differently? And we were talking. And my wife usually doesn't open up about that kind of stuff, right? She's like, but she did. She opened up and she started to actually cry. And she started to actually open up with emotion to say, I think I would have been there more. I think I would have been there to support my kid a lot more, not just concentrate on work and those kind of things. I think I would have been able to study up more on things like ADHD and the brain capacity that somebody might have when they have severe ADHD and they're just trying to survive and cope with social classes and everything else. I could have been there to help him more rather than just going, hey, stop forgetting this and stop doing this. And you're getting bad grades in school. Suck it up and get better grades or those kind of things as parents might do in a situation like that. I could have been more supportive. So we both were opening up to all these emotions and I felt it. I could feel all of that emotion coming out of my body into this space of the car that we were talking. And then we got done with all of our emotions. We got done kind of crying it out and doing the things that we had to do. And I looked at my wife and I said, that was nice. I think that helped. And my wife looked at me and said, I agree. That was really therapeutic to talk about. And I said, yeah, I know. And then the bell went off in my head. The bell rang loud and proud in my head. And I said to myself, this conversation that we just had, having somebody to be able to talk to and have a conversation with and be able to just vent and talk about things or even reflect. I know hindsight's always 20/20, but sometimes it's good to be able to just talk about things you could have done better, that you could move forward in the space of actually playing in that space to be able to better yourself or better your relationships or those kind of things. So it opened up our eyes and our ears and I was like, wow, man, that really helped me. So then I went back to thinking, those individuals that this last week that we lost, if they had somebody that they could have sat down with and talked to, just like we did in the car, just like we were venting and talking about everything and coming up with ideas and those kind of things, or just peeling the paint off the walls and cussing up a storm and getting all wild because you're upset or you're stressed out or you're pissed off and you're angry and all those things. And you got it off your chest to talk to somebody, even if you're not going to therapy, your buddy, your friend, a family member, whatever it is, I could be there to help. You know why? Because I'm being kind. And I'm reaching out to say my door is open. I'm always here. I just wanted to tell you I love you. I just wanted to tell you I care about you. I believe in you. I've seen you successful before. And I know you can do this again. I know you're a good dad. I know that you work hard for a living. I know all those things. Give yourself some grace because at the end of the day, life is hard. It's difficult. Anybody that said life is easy, I have never heard anybody really say that life is easy. I've always heard that even the people that have the silver spoons and have grown up with lots of money and everything else, they talk about their struggles. They talk about the things that they go through, societal and cultural and all those things. Everybody's got a story. Everybody does. And everybody has to go through this thing that we call life. And it's hard and it's difficult. And how nice is it every once in a while to receive someone else in that space that's saying to you, I'm not judging. I'm not looking at your life. I'm not looking at the whole kit and caboodle of the things that you're doing over here. All I'm focused on right now is reaching out to you to tell you that I'm thinking about you and you matter. How hard is that for us to do? I feel like I missed an opportunity with those two individuals. I probably could have more. So right after that, right after I found out that two dads, two husbands, two sons, took their own life because it was too much. I could have done better. So right after I found that out, I made phone calls to people that I had not talked to in 5, 6, 7 years. And I had a conversation with them just to say, hey, listen, a couple of them I left voicemails. Hey, man, I haven't talked to you in a while. I just wanted to tell you I'm thinking about you. I was reminiscing about some old times, and I'm thinking about our old Navy days together. I just wanted to tell you, whatever it is that you're doing right now, you're going to nail it. You got this. And that's all I said. I didn't know their situation. I didn't even know if they were actually going for anything. I didn't know if they had goals, whatever else. So here was the eye-opener. Here was the response of all responses. I left a message on an old Navy buddy. That's what I said, basically, was I was thinking about you. I was looking through some old pictures of our old med crews, us in Paris, France, where the Olympics are going on right now. So it was kind of, bringing back some memories and how good of a friend you were during some of the times that I needed help. Some of the times that when we were underway and I missed my family and it's been 3 Christmases that I've been gone away from family because of wartime situations and different stuff that was going on. And you were there for me and we bonded that way. But we haven't talked to each other in years. But I just wanted to say, I'm thinking about you and you matter. And I hung it up. That was the voicemail I left. And I felt good about it. I said, okay. So I did a couple other ones. I actually got through to a couple people and they were so surprised. But the person that I left a message for called me back. And they said to me, you have no idea what that message did for me. You have no idea of the crap that I'm going through in life right now. That literally, I'm about a dime away from addiction, a dime away from using drugs to self-medicate and all these things. You helped me at that moment in time. And I need you to hear that I thank you for that. And we're going to set up a call once a month that we're going to have a conversation where I'm going to continually text them, but we're going to set up a call once a month. We're going to put it in our calendar and we're going to do it. We're going to have a conversation and I'm going to make that happen. No matter how busy my life is getting, I'm making the time for this individual because they now felt a value to my presence and what I'm bringing to the table because I'm kind, because I reach out, and because I'm learning from my whole story that I'm living through of how to treat others and how to be good to other people and lift each other up and encourage each other, right? It's a lost art now. There's not a lot of people that are doing it. There's not a lot of people that are out there being kind to other individuals, right? We have pockets of it. It's just like the whole political landscape, right? You get your far left and you get your far right. They're loud and obnoxious a-holes and they're going crazy. But the people in the middle, the quiet ones, the good ones, the kind ones, those kind of things, literally at the end of the day are overshadowed by all the noise, right? Those 2 individuals that took their own life, they were good dads. They were good husbands. They were good sons. But all the noise was kind of squelching down the true feelings of what they were having, what was really going on behind the scenes. So if there's one thing I want to say to all of you, as a wake-up call for myself, I'm going to bring it to the table for all of you. Take this moment in this podcast right now to set it in your calendar to go and do something kind for somebody. To call somebody you haven't talked to in ages. If you're getting a feeling about certain individuals, text them, call them, message them, do whatever it takes. Because you just never know the impact you're going to have with those kind words to an individual that may be going through the worst time of their life. And they need the life raft. They need the preserver to be thrown into the water to pull them from the depths of the ocean, right? We're that individual. That's us. So use that as a catalyst for yourself. Use it as a challenge. Every week, put it on your list of agendas, your list of things to do, to whatever it is, to give yourself a goal that's going to be set out that you can reach out to some individuals every week if you want to be able to give a high five, a virtual high five, to do a FaceTime call, to show them some love, to do whatever it takes to make another individual feel good, no matter how bad you might be feeling at that moment in time. Because you know what the other effect that has on you is the fact that not only are you helping that other individual, and now they're looking at you going, thank you so much for doing this for me. But now you're starting to feel a little better. You're starting to feel like, oh man, the sun's coming out a little bit. It's getting a little bit brighter. The rainbow is above us right now because I feel good about doing this for this individual, and they feel good about me doing it for them as well. So now we got this ripple effect going now. Now it's kind of feeling good in a situation where it was dark and dreary and bad taste and everything else. Now it's starting to feel a little bit like, wow, oh, maybe I can do this. You know, I got a friend that's reaching out to me to tell me that they care about me. That feels good to me. I'm really happy about that right now. Maybe I don't hear it at home as much as I should. Maybe I hold myself to a really high standard, so it's really kind of cool that I have an outside perspective telling me you're doing an amazing job or whatever it takes. So again, use this podcast to challenge yourself to be kind to individuals no matter what. Use this podcast to give yourself some goals and some challenges that we know. Listen, I know that there's billions of people all around the world. But your kind actions and my kind actions and anybody else's kind actions that may be inspired by our kind actions, we can start to make those ripples turn into waves. And we can start to change the world one kind action at a time. And we can actually probably, maybe even save a couple lives along the way, because we are in too dire of straits for individuals to have to take their own life. It's sad that it gets to that point. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to reach out to one of those individuals, or I'm going to talk to somebody that might be struggling right now, and I'm going to let them know some resources or some numbers, the suicide hotline, or here's a therapist that I go to, here's betterhelp.com, all these different things, giving resources and help to them to be able to say, listen, I do it. Yeah, I mean, you think I'm tough as nails. So I'm not. I need help. And I'm going to get help. And this is part of the repair that we need to make. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for listening today. And yeah, let's go out and do some kind stuff for other individuals, all right? We'll talk next time, guys. Much love.
Thank you for listening to the That's Life podcast. Please leave us a 5-star rating and any feedback on whatever platform you're using.